Hey guys, this is going to be our breakout for the superhero TV shows discussion that we're going to do usually at the end of every episode, but we ran really long this week with episode 1. So here we'll be doing this separate. All right. This is the Superheroes Journey podcast, and my name is Carl Freemerman.
I'm Brian Shores.
And you can find us on Twitter at Superhero Journey. That's no E in super, and write to us at thesuperheroesjourney@gmail.com, where heroes is plural, not possessive. Where do we want to start? Maybe I won't do S.H.I.E.L.D. because you didn't watch S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Yeah.
of course.
I mean, just like we're not going to do Arrow because you didn't watch Arrow. Well,
I did catch up. We could talk about last
Yeah, we can watch. We can talk
a week
about
ago
last
if we want. Yeah. We'll do Supergirl.
All right, yeah.
Supergirl. So, damn, was this episode boring as hell.
Yeah, there was nothing to it. Like, I'm glad you said that because, like, I was watching it and, like, a little behind the scenes stuff. Like, when we watch these shows, we kind of, like, Carl takes actual notes, I take mental notes, just because I have to make sure that everything I say is stunted and say, and, I have to put all that in there, so I have to make it, sound as if, I'm kind of a jackass, and, like, there was nothing to really talk about. Like, Jimmy was just kind of like whiny and
yeah. I mean, it was a big James Olsen episode, which is always the worst episodes. He's the worst actor in the show. He's the worst character in the show.
Yeah, it was just, they need to either get rid of him or do something interesting with his character, which they tried to do by making him Guardian, and it just failed.
Yeah,
because they found a way. They gave Hank Henshaw something really exciting and important by making him John Jones. They figured out when by bringing him into the DEO and actually giving him a reason to be the super hacker. They made Alex interesting. Supergirl was always the most compelling part of the show. They had a really quick turnaround on Mon-El from turning him just be like the drunk douchey frat guy to actually somebody who's trying to aspire to be better than he is. And then you have James Olsen, who is really good at being handsome, and that's it.
Yeah, right. He's running the company, the Catco company now,
Which
and he seems totally uninterested and doesn't seem to care about that job.
He's like, okay, he's never there, and he's completely unqualified too.
Right.
Because all he was, like, he was the art director, which I completely get. That means that, he understands aesthetic and he can manage a department, and I get that. But that does not make him qualified to run the whole corporation, because Catco isn't just like the magazine or whatever. It's like it's
a
like,
news network.
It's a whole like
it's
just like a whole thing, and it makes no sense that he would be running that.
So yeah, like in this episode, his arc was that people are scared of the Guardian, and he wants to be liked. He wants to be a hero that people look up to, and not just this scary vigilante guy.
Did like the Batman reference though?
Yes, that was awesome. So yeah, Wynn specifically says Clark's friend is. He says I feel like they're more frenemies.
Yeah.
And he gets a little like signal, like pointy ear signal, when he's like, oh, there,
Yeah.
So I'm like, Batman exists in this universe probably.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And hopefully they could do it. I feel like if anywhere they can do it is
unless
in this
they're talking
show.
about Wildcat again. They're porting him over from Arrow.
Yeah, well, that's definitely they're talking about Batman. If he never even shows up, at least they're implying that he does exist in this universe.
See, the only problem with them bringing Batman in is they're going to do what they did with Superman, and they're going to make a better version of what we have on the movie, and it's going to make me really mad that we don't have that, because they've done that with Flash, they've done that with Superman. Now then they're going to do it with Batman and be like, come on, just give me them on the screen.
Well, I mean, look, I don't really care. I'm getting it somewhere. That's fine.
Yeah.
I want the movies to be good, but you've already screwed it up. So there's nothing you can do right now unless we've had discussions. You have to full on reboot it, go full on Injustice or something, make this an alternate universe and reset it in the movies, and then it could be good. But
I'm not going to be happy until they bring in the whole until they acknowledge that Watchmen is the first movie in this DCU continuity, and that Dr. Manhattan is the reason why everything is so dark and bleak. He's going to come back and just be like, hey guys, sorry for screwing it up. Let's reset this. And then Grant Gustin, like there's a Flash. Grant Gustin shows Flash is a bad I was not going for that. There's like a blinding light, and then like Grant Gustin pops up. He's like, "Hey guys, we're having fun again," you know. And then like there's, I don't know, like
wishful thinking, right? Wishful
yes.
Thinking. So okay, in Supergirl,
If there's nothing else to take away from this episode
Yeah.
of the podcast, I am very hopeful.
Yeah. So as Supergirl, of course, this episode was definitely one of the worst.
Yeah.
Because it's just, like it's got cheesy soap opera drama, and for the most part, there's nothing interesting going on.
Yeah.
There's a stupid. Martian Manhunter gives an explanation for the name Martian Manhunter in this.
Yeah.
And he says that he was in law enforcement as a Martian. I'm like, really? All right, fine.
See,
There was. We don't even need to get into it. It's just a silly thing.
I don't know. I would have hoped that they would have brought in a Green Lantern reference, because the group that that came before the Green Lanterns were the Manhunters, and
Right. Yeah.
those Manhunters took. So there is continuity into the comics, that because the law enforcement on Mars were called the Manhunters, and the Owens looked to them to model their android law enforcement off of them. So there's some continuity.
Well, like they say man, but like what's a man on Mars?
Yeah.
Is it a Martian? Is it a Martian hunter? Like
Yeah.
it's not a man hunter. It's a man's human.
Yeah.
Human. That's where it comes from. So I don't know. There was
They didn't think that far ahead in the
right.
40s, all right?
I have always little nitpicks I love to point out.
Oh yeah.
Lena Luthor is like making ridiculous phone call threats to Supergirl.
Yeah.
I'm like rolling my eyes at this. I'm like, oh god, but these not like this is what we're watching right now. We're watching people threaten people over the phone. Like they're talking to each other on the phone, and Lena is not Lena was doing it. It was sorry, it was Mon-El's mother, right? Was making the threats.
It was Mom-El. We are only going to refer to her as Mom-El.
Mom-El. Mom-El was making these threats with Lena's phone that she
Yeah.
picked up and used. And it's so damn cheesy that she like erases the contact. She's like, oh, I deleted Kara's number. As if you can't like, well, you'll never find her again because I deleted her number. Like, what are you talking about?
And how is it that Lena's not losing her shit because somebody, like a new business partner, like she found, like who's answering her phone?
Yeah, that's totally unacceptable behavior.
Like, how is she not being dragged out by security?
And on top of that, Lena is literally 10 feet away from her. And she doesn't hear this like pretty in-depth, like threatening conversation that she's having on her own phone.
Yeah.
That's really weird. Really weird. What else I thought was ridiculous here? Oh my god, when James is talking to the kid and he's telling the kid like, oh, I was bullied as a kid. Like, shit, you were bullied as a kid. Like, yeah, I guess maybe you aren't always like this giant hulking beast of a man.
He's like, but then I hit puberty, grew to 6'5", and have all these effortless muscles.
Right, like you were bullied probably like pre-high school.
Yeah.
Does that really matter that much?
See, he was picked on for being too charismatic and too likable.
And then he also
was
said
picked
that
on because he kept on sleeping with all the bullies' girlfriends.
he also said that his dad was his guardian.
Oh, that hurt.
And I was like,
why would they do that?
Like, your dad was your guardian. I'm like, literally, he was your guardian. Yes.
He is literally your guardian.
Literally your
that is legally his.
He is your legal guardian. That is
Yeah.
true. Just like every other person. Like, what did your dad like come to school and protect you like from the bullies? Like, what are you talking about here?
Well, yeah, he did two things. He gave Olsen a camera, and then he carried a shield that was attached to his arm that he deflected all the bullets that were apparently aimed at Jimmy for being such a dumbass little kid.
Yeah. So the good thing that came out of this episode was the end.
Yeah.
And where they leave it off with this great idea of bringing thousands of Daxamites to Earth.
Yeah.
With all their ships flying in through the portal.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, if anything, this episode at least left us with like a really awesome setup for what's going to come. Which is, is it the finale next? I'm not sure.
No, I think it's got 2 or 3 more episodes.
Okay.
Because this is essentially the plot of like the new Krypton storyline from a couple years ago from
Okay.
Superman, I think, where it was like a bunch of Kryptonians. They were creating a new Krypton, and I think they kept on like coming to Earth, and there was like invasion like attempts, and then they rebooted it because they're like, okay, this is too big. New 52, we're done. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it's gonna go, because it keeps on inching more and more toward Mon-El actually getting a costume or like a uniform.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'd like to see what they come up with that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we're gonna see Superman hopefully in the next episode. They say
Yeah,
he's coming back.
Yeah.
So this makes sense at this point. There's all these alien ships like coming to Earth. Superman's probably gonna be, listen, I gotta step in. I can't leave this one alone.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a bunch of stuff where I feel like he kind of should have shown up, even though I know they did address it in the first season, where Superman kind of came out of the blue and saved Kara, and then she's like, hey, thanks for the save, but I kind of got this. He's like, yeah, I'm not trying to step on toes. Call me if you need me, which was more than enough.
Yeah, no, I think they handled that all very well, and I'm happy that I don't need to question every time why Superman's not there. But in this case, he definitely it would make sense for him.
I still think that he was greatly him and Martian Manhunter. I understand like TV production, keeping it out, but like if like all of that was to be considered the real world, and that massive crossover that they did among all the shows, no part of it makes any sense that Martian Manhunter and Superman would not have come over to help fight an alien invasion. I'm sorry, none of that made sense. But I am excited.
You missed a great opportunity there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Superman come back though.
Yeah. So I guess we'll save Flash for last.
Yeah.
We'll do So I didn't watch Arrow, the one that we just had, but I did watch the one from before, which you didn't really get to talk about.
I mean, I think I gave my review in the last podcast where I just said completely forgettable up until the last like minute of.
It's everything you said.
Yeah.
This episode was another one of those episodes where I'm like, why am I still watching this show?
It was very much like, okay, we need one filler episode until we get to the final arc.
Like, it's just such a chore to get through this episode.
Yeah. It was excellent pairing with the Supergirl from this week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I watched them, pretty close in succession, so it was not fun.
Yeah.
Not fun.
No.
So, things I want to say about this, God, in the beginning, it was super dramatic. Like, I can't feel my legs from Felicity.
Yeah.
When they have the EMP that shuts off her magic, paralyzation fixing device.
Yeah. It's like you're paralyzed. You're not supposed to feel your legs. Don't whine about it because
Immediately I was like, oh god, here we go with this episode. Yeah. And then the show does a flashback in this episode, because of course Arrow always has to have flashbacks.
Yeah.
But in this one was different because this one was just a flashback to
like
earlier in time.
Yeah.
Now it was really bothering me because they specifically say it's 11 months ago.
Yeah.
And like, does the show really expect me to remember where in the timeline the show was 11 months ago in its timeline?
I feel like they're hoping that you don't, because like at that point you can just kind of ignore any continuity errors.
I suppose because they have that, they hook up, in the episode that shows them like, I don't know, is this the first time they hooked up? Is it in the middle of their relationship? Is it after a relationship part with them? Like, I have no idea, because I have no idea where 11 months ago was.
11 months ago, I think they had already broken the engagement.
The only frame of reference they gave was they mentioned Damien Dark.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if they were referring to him being defeated already or to him being...
Well, he was ever present the entire last season.
Yes, like I was like, God, this is really, really poorly handled, because like none of this matters because I can't feel the context of it. And you're doing that whole like parallel, like, oh, we're trapped together in present time, and this is a time when we were together alone in previous time in the same exact location. At
least they're like, okay, we're wrapping up the flashbacks, so let's just move them into like shit you've already seen, and
let's flash back to crap you didn't want to see.
Yeah,
that we've already established and went over many times.
Yeah,
but I found this really hilarious. So the whole premise of this episode, like they're trapped in the Arrow cave, right? And they can't get out, and upstairs, the other characters are trying to get them out, and they're like, they're trapped in there, and they're gonna run out of air. They probably have 5 to 6 hours. To which I was like, what are you talking about? 5 to 6 hours? Do you realize how goddamn large
Yeah.
that area is that they're trapped in.
Yeah. There's quite a lot of, unless like they're like, okay, well, we did just like empty out all those CO2 tanks into the aero cave that filled most of it. So there really is only 5 or 6 hours worth of air left, even though we have essentially the entire floor of like an office building equivalent.
Yeah, I mean, that room is enormous. I mean, it's at least like 50 feet long, maybe more. I don't know. I'm just ballparking this guess here.
But
I mean,
but have they ever said that it's like hermetically sealed too?
I don't think so.
So,
Whatever.
because I mean, you have these elevator shafts that don't look like they have like a really like.
There was some sort of steel barrier at the elevator shaft that he tried to climb up, which I don't understand how that would work.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So I even went online and just to try to look up like how much air would you actually have in a scenario like that. And from what I was reading, like they're incredibly off.
Yeah.
Because even in a room I was reading that was like 12 cubic feet, you would have more than a day's worth in there. So it's so ridiculous. So they didn't even take the time to think about how ridiculous that sounds to just an average person who has an average knowledge of science in general and how these things work. Oh man, they would die of dehydration before they would die of loss of oxygen down there.
Yeah, they had plenty of water though.
They probably did. Right?
Like fridges and fridges and fridges of like emergency supplies. But
what else was funny? Black Canary at one point, like they're trying to get to some elevator shaft, right? Yeah. And she's like about to step into the elevator shaft, and Wild Dog puts his hand out to stop her. I'm laughing, like, was she not looking in front of her face at the obvious elevator shaft that she was about to fall into?
Well, you see, where she's from, she's just used to exposed cables in the middle of her elevator compartments or elevator cars.
Just silly writing in this episode. So bad at times. The thing with Lila and what's his name already? I forget. Diggle. Yeah. And their argument and how he's
the most interesting character on the show. You forget his name.
Is he? I don't know. At times he's been good, but
Dig's easily my favorite character on the show.
He's not been handled well as of late. He's had some really weird arcs, and now this arc, which they already just kind of ended, which is him like questioning his wife again and her behavior with Argus.
Yeah, which they could have done a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just seems like when it comes to,
actually didn't like it. I'm happy it's done with.
Yeah, I mean they were at least going somewhere where like they were trying to do something interesting. It could have been like a good arc, for Argus, where like they're setting up Argus as like the villain for the next season. Where it's essentially kind of like, going against family. That could have been really interesting. I would have liked that.
Well, like, so Lila, she gets on him and sort of gives this little speech, and I was like, you're totally right. Yeah. Because she points out that like, he's been part of this vigilante team who's been judge and jury for years now, and he's coming off getting mad at her being head of this secretive organization who's doing things that aren't quite illegal to do the right thing. They're both exactly the same, just doing it in different ways. Yeah. Like, so she's totally right about that. He's guy. I was happy that she like kind of bitched him out on that. Yeah. But
the one thing I will say about Diggle that's confused me most of the season. Why is his face professionally lit, like, while he's under the mask?
That is really weird, because the mask has a light in it, obviously.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the mask, he's wearing it, I mean, like, okay, yeah, wear a helmet, for protection, but he's wearing a mask to, I assume, like, hide his identity. But why have his face lit better? Like, you're in the middle of the night, you don't have it lit, maybe if you want, have it so, like, Cisco put, like, a HUD in the mask so he can like see through, see through it and see, have like the Iron Man style display, which won't have it be lit up. But what is the point of having his face lit up.
Everything about it makes no sense. It's
Yeah.
obviously just for filming purposes, because
guess.
why would you want a light in your face in the mask and the helmet you're wearing? That
Because all it's
doesn't
going to
make
do
any
is
sense.
reflect off the glass.
Yeah, and obviously he's not trying to hide his face, because his face is clearly clearly visible now because of this. So
Yeah.
I guess it's just protection at this point,
Yeah.
but still really weird. And he would be easily spotted anywhere because he's got a glowing light in his face. They're like, oh, there's the target, hit him right there.
Yeah.
So, and in the end, of course, there's like that moment where Oliver has to like save Felicity 'cause she's falling, and he's holding her with the arm, and she's like, no, just let me go. And I was like, yes, please.
So just
Let her go. Like, we've all had enough of this whole Oliver Felicity relationship.
Yeah.
You can't kill Oliver, so please just, I know people like her, but I'm done. I can't take any more of this relationship. The only way to get rid of it completely is to kill off her character.
And also at that point when he knows he's getting out of there, why not just let her fall? Because who cares if she breaks a leg? She's not going to feel it. Like, it's cruel, but it's true. You know, it's like the whole lifeguard thing. Like, if you're trying to save someone in the ocean and you're about to get, like, swept up into rocks, like, you put the person you're saving in between you and the rocks so that you can, you know, survive, so you're strong enough to save them. So, like, who cares if she gets injured a little more that she's not going to feel? I mean, okay, granted, the fall probably would have killed her. But
Oh, she was going to die, for sure.
yeah.
Although
I'm just trying to explain this away, right?
So, all right, let's move on to The Flash this week.
Yeah.
What'd you think of The Flash, though, this week?
It answered a lot of the questions and concerns I had the previous week in regards to Savitar.
Really?
Yeah. Where, you know, I like that they said that he was a time remnant.
Right, they did say that.
You know, which, you know, we kind of did theorize. You know, but to actually, like, define that and, you know, and answer why he wants Iris to die, because that's what was going to push Barry over the edge to do what he did to get him to exist. Even though I didn't buy the whole thing that he turned evil because, you know, Team Flash just kind of ignored him.
Yeah, that was the biggest problem with that, because essentially what you think, Team Flash just shunned him. They were just like, oh, there's another Barry. We're just gonna treat him like a total douche. We don't, you know, we're not gonna be friends with him.
Yeah.
We're just gonna act like he did. Like, what did they do? How would they mean to him?
Yeah.
Like,
but also, like, why wouldn't in that case? Why would he just be like, okay, now since you guys were like, you know, we already have a Barry, thanks, we already got one. Why wouldn't he just be like, okay, I'm gonna go hang out with Jay on Earth 3? Or
yeah, there's so much
you
stuff.
know, like, why wouldn't he just, or like Earth, I think they've said it's Earth 38, just go like bomb around with Kara for a while, you know, on Supergirl. Like,
It doesn't make sense because he's Barry Allen.
Or
why
why
would
did he
Barry
just off
Allen
himself?
just like, he wouldn't just act like that. He wouldn't be like, oh, he would understand the situation.
Yeah.
And there would be plenty of other things for him to do and
Yeah.
places to go. So that explanation was garbage, and I didn't buy it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I did like that he's Barry Allen, but not that there was a second Barry Allen, and that he was rejected, you know, by his family, and he was probably still hurting, you know, from just having, you know, watched Iris die, and this could have been the thing that pushed him over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if that's the case, why wouldn't Barry and Cisco in the future know, you know, that he's Savitar? Like,
Yeah.
he just up and leaves one day. He's like, you know what, guys, I'm good. I'm gonna head out.
Right.
I'm gonna go back in time and convince everyone that I'm the original
Yeah,
speedster.
that doesn't actually line up with when he went to the future, because if
Yeah.
that's the status quo, like they would all know that there was another Barry.
Yeah.
That's totally screwed up.
And also, why wouldn't when Barry went to the future to find out how to stop Savitar, why when he shows up looking, you know, not disheveled and emo, when Joe saw him, why wasn't Joe's first question, which Barry are you? You know, he's like, the Barry that I know hasn't come here in years. You know, are you?
Yeah, right.
You know, are you the remnant? Like, why wasn't that a question? Why wasn't that a question? Like,
I don't know. None of it makes sense.
yeah.
And then they go into the plot of this episode, which I thought was utterly ridiculous. But
it was definitely like a very TV-y episode.
yeah, but I mean,
It
was intentionally like
there was a lot of fun about it, though.
So like they had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, which is what I was hoping for, because it was getting pretty heavy for a while.
Yeah, but the whole concept of like them making this machine that's gonna stop him from having, I guess, creating new memories. So basically giving him like short-term memory loss, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Right, is he can't create new long-term memories. And then they use it, and now he like lost his old memories. It did the opposite effect, and he doesn't remember anything. I'm like, what are they doing here?
But I did like that because, because it was very much we needed Caitlyn for this. Like, we can't do this without the team as a whole. And I did like that, where they didn't beat you over the head with it, until maybe a little toward the end. Where you can see that she's starting to crack and come back, and she's not like completely Killer Frost.
Yeah.
But
it was such a crazy notion for them to be like, oh yeah, we'll just mess with his brain. That's the smart thing to do. And somehow we have a machine just ready to go that can do this without any sort of like connection to him. It's just a thing that went over his head that wasn't even touching him. I'm like, this is some crazy powerful technology that you should not have.
They've established that Cisco can make anything in about 4 hours.
Yes.
A lot of this stuff, I like to think that it's stuff that they had in development or R&D at Star Labs that they've been working on for like 5-10 years, and it's just sitting in storage, and Cisco's like, you know what, I think we have a thing, I'm gonna finish it, or let's try this. That I would be much happier with than just the Cisco's just that good that there's literally anything he can build in his lab that's smaller than the Cortex, like in the better part of an hour.
Yeah, it's one of those possibility things that isn't handled well.
Yeah.
So okay, I like the little touch that Barry loves Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
In this episode, I was like, yeah, man, me too, man.
I love that they're like every once in a while they really reinforce like Barry's a nerd.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so they had the scene where they give him those glasses, so they can feed him the lines while he's in court.
I didn't understand that you don't get them wet.
Yeah, so that's the thing this is one of the things that like a nitpick of mine, because it's so ridiculous. They're like, don't get it wet, and then literally one drop of sweat touches the glasses, and they are done. And mind you, this is the most realistic piece of technology in this entire show. Yeah,
because that's the thing. Google Glass was a thing.
Exactly. And they can't create an equivalent of a Google Glass that can't take the power and might of one drop of sweat.
I'll tell you this. You can go to Home Depot. There is a product that Rust-Oleum makes called Never Wet. It is a hydrophobic compound that you could like spray on a t-shirt, and no matter what liquid you put on it, just beads and rolls off. It's like the Rain-X that you put on your windshield. Put that stuff on there. Yeah. Like you can watch people take apart their cell phones and they will spray the inside with the stuff, put it back together, and they'll send texts from underwater without a case. If you can do that, why can't you just spend like the extra 5 minutes to spray this stuff on the glasses?
Doesn't make any sense. So we go from this magical like.
Well, I'll have you know why. It's because Rust-Oleum does not exist on Earth 1.
The magical brain wave, mind memory erasing or blocking machine to the very real world piece of tech that's just displaying text typed to you from someone else nearby is less effective for some reason. It breaks down immediately. So ridiculous. So then Wally, of course, they block Barry's memories, which blocks Savitar's memories. Yeah. And Savitar is in that weird same where he's like, I don't know he's basically like freaking out. He doesn't know who the hell he is anymore. Yeah. it was really silly.
Yeah.
But then Wally doesn't have powers anymore.
Yeah, because Savitar forgot how to give people powers.
Yes. Which we still don't understand how he gives people powers.
I don't think we're ever going to.
No, we're never going. That's fine. But it is what it is with that, whatever. But the fact that Wally doesn't have his speed anymore because of this event, and then I'm like, well, why the hell is Julian still there then?
Yeah.
he shouldn't be there. If all of the Savitar stuff essentially didn't happen now because of what they did, which is evidenced by Wally not having his powers, Julian just would never have met them.
Yeah, because if Savitar was never a thing, then he never would have gone searching for the Philosopher's Stone, never would have become Dr. Alchemy, never would have given anyone their powers, and
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. The show's just like, no, forget it.
Yeah.
We're just writing one of those like plot things. Like we can't have another speedster to solve the problems, so we'll just get rid of him.
This, and I actually figured it out. You see, Julian is a time remnant. I like
Very
this.
well could be.
I like that Savitar is explained as a time remnant because I've accepted that those exist, but I really hate that time remnants are a thing in the show. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I love time travel. Like, some of my favorite movies are time travel movies, but I really hate that as a thing.
When they first explained the concept, I was really scratching my head. I was
like, it kind of made sense
really not
a little.
Quite sure why what your explanation doesn't really flow for me.
Because I feel like they introduced it to justify paradoxes in the show, and
of course,
and that's fine for like an episode, but to lean on it this hard, I think is a little ridiculous.
Yeah, because to the point where your main villain now is a time remnant, which a concept that is really hard to define in any conceivable, intelligent way.
Yeah.
Okay, so HR had I thought a fun little romance with that scientist woman.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to stop Savitar.
Yeah, with the speed bazooka.
Yeah, the Speed Force bazooka.
Speed Force
yeah,
bazooka.
they're like coming up with names and being silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was one of the better moments of the episode.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed that. I like her character. I don't know if I really hope that she stays on and joins Team Flash, but I like what she's doing.
Look, I'd rather have her than at this point Caitlin, who her acting is really starting to get to me.
Yeah.
Like, when she's Caitlin, it's okay, but it's still not great. And when she's Killer Frost, she is just not good, man.
Yeah. I don't know.
And they had that moment was pretty good with her as Killer Frost though, where because of Cisco, it was really good because Cisco is like reliving the past with her, something that they did when they were working together, and I thought it was a really clever way for him to try to get her to talk to them and
just
reminisce and like maybe
like bringing up Ronnie.
Yeah, and maybe bring her back to being a good character again, because I mean there really is no explanation for why she's bad in the show. It just is. She's just bad because she has powers now and she's bad. Like
I still don't understand why her being able to basically make things cold turned her evil, but
I don't know. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then the end was awesome because we got to see King Shark again.
Yeah.
Randomly, I don't know why.
I don't know why King Shark has a power source that's more powerful than the sun.
Right.
But I'll take it because King Shark's awesome.
Yeah. Well, that concept is really bizarre.
Yeah.
Because he didn't seem to have any. I mean, he's not like a.
Intelligent?
He wasn't very intelligent.
Yeah.
He talked and all, but
yeah,
it's not like would he just find this thing? And I was looking at that thing and I'm like, it's an Infinity Stone, right?
Yeah.
It's totally an Infinity Stone.
Thor just like pops, or like Vision just like pops through a portal. He's like, I'll take that.
Yeah, right. like this random power artifact that you're just gonna introduce now is again like kind of lazy writing.
Yeah, I think it would have made a lot more sense if they were like, we need a power source that's more powerful than the sun, and Barry's like, and then Barry, says like, what if I create a bunch of speed remnants and we all focus, the speed force into the bazooka, and just basically just kind of like going back on the story itself, where he's like, but I'll make one less, and that one less will be the one that doesn't become Savitar. But that would have made more sense, where they're like, okay, I'm just gonna get a bunch of me to basically power the Speed Force cannon, because the Speed Force is, just immensely powerful, and that would have made a lot more sense than, just giving King Shark this random glowing thing. Even though I'm excited to see King Shark come back.
Yeah, because that effect and that was really well handled. It looks great.
Yeah.
Better than, I mean, it's funny because I like that King Shark in the TV show better than like Doomsday in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
So, that says a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess that's pretty much it for that. I guess briefly I'll just mention Shield a little bit. That I really like, another great episode. I think we're getting to the finale maybe next week.
Yeah. Series finale.
I mentioned, no, not the series.
We've got there, folks. Series finale.
I mentioned that. Remember, I told you that Ada, she like teleported and she has some of her powers. They explained that, and it was cool in a way because they were studying Inhumans, and they basically designed her to have all these different powers from the Inhumans. So that was cool. She has more than that. She can do more than teleport. So that was awesome. She's a really powerful villain now.
Yeah.
She had like this. It's interesting because she's like experienced emotions for the first time. So she has like fits of like being interested and being amazed by like some new, feeling like and love. And then
she has Simmons of other things.
Yeah. Well, and then
that was a pun because you said she has fits of.
Oh.
Look,
then,
I'm trying to engage on Shield. All right?
Good.
I'm
it's a
trying.
Good one, Brian. I like that.
I'm trying.
I like your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So
if only it was real.
She has she experiences heartbreak in the episode, and she wigs out like crazy, and it's a really good acting moment for her and the actress in that. So I like that. What else was really interesting? Well, Ghost Rider comes back in the end.
Oh, thank God.
So
the thing that, okay, in full disclosure, I did watch the first 2 episodes of this season of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it was Ghost Rider that made me not continue.
Why though? Everybody's like, you seem to be the minority in this because most people really liked the way they did Ghost Rider.
Hey, whatever, 1%.
But anyway, I'm so happy to see Ghost Rider again because the effect that they did for him and this version of Ghost Rider is
not nearly as good as Nick Cage. I get it.
He's a good character, and Nick Cage is terrible. This is better than the movie Ghost Riders that we've gotten.
Yeah, set the bar really high with that, Carl. Set the bar really
it wasn't. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't hard to pass that, but but we got there, and it's fantastic. And
well, you got there.
Yeah, he's gonna kick some ass. He's gonna take down this superhuman, inhuman android former character. Yeah.
I mean, he should.
It's gonna be epic.
Like he's fueled by like the fire of hell. There's no reason why he shouldn't be able to take down like just essentially like a really fancy robot.
I mean, I want more of this character. I want to see Ghost Rider show up in other places. I want them to do something with it, whether they do a show or they bring another movie in or put him in something else. Because it's a cool design. It really is, and there's a lot of I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. There's several different versions. So if we can do another version that we haven't done.
They're gonna bring in Ghost Rider 2099.
I don't even know what that one is.
It was not good.
All right, so I guess that's probably it.
Yeah.
We've gone on way too long.
Yeah.
We might have to break this out into something separate.
Yeah. I have a feeling if you guys are listening to this, you're probably listening to this as a part B that was released maybe later in the week after all of our events, which actually, thinking out loud, might not be a bad way to do it. Do 2 episodes a week. Maybe just do like the release like news on Monday and then show reactions on Wednesday.
But we're giving people our inner workings right now. We can't do this.
Yes, I'm sure both of our friends that are listening to this right now.
All 2 of them, right? Oh man. Anything? Any last words? Anything else that caught your mind? Maybe that you wanted to mention?
No, I think we hit just about everything.
No shows. Did you watch? Did you catch American Gods yet?
No, I haven't seen American Gods yet. I did actually this past week. And I didn't even realize like just how much of it or just like the undertaking that it was until I was talking to someone yesterday about it. But like I've been working a lot of nights and like sleeping, my sleep schedule's all kinds of messed up, so I'll be up in the middle of the night, not a whole lot to do. This past week, I actually binge watched the entirety of Silicon Valley, which
So you had the time for that.
yeah.
I see. I watched like the first,
Wait, no, finish your thought. So I had the time for that, but what, Carl?
but not the time to watch. I don't know, Agents of Shield.
Yeah, yeah. I also had the time to watch that and not drown homeless people. Like you are 100% accurate in that I had the time to do something that I wanted to do as opposed to something that I did not want to do.
I see. You'll probably rewatch all of like Enterprise or something before watching Shield.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah. I would, because I liked that show.
All right. So
I stand by my fandom, okay?
that's fine.
I'm unapologetic about it.
Let's hope the next one is something that you can be a fan of as well.
Oh, Discovery?
Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
If it ever happens.
It'll happen. I think it's too far into production for them to back out now.
It definitely seems troubled.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Well, I think they were a little too ambitious with the timetable. I think if they were a little more realistic with what they were saying, I think it wouldn't seem. I don't think the show is nearly in as bad shape as people view it to be, but that's also me being hopeful.
All right, so I think we'll bring this to a close
Until we start talking about something else.
I know, right? If we
Yeah.
get sidetracked. So if you really, really like hearing us talk about in-depth version, the opinions about all these different TV shows that we watch, you must have listened to this already at this point. Hopefully you do. Hopefully you like everything that we do here. And let us know on Twitter at Superhero Journey, no E in super, or email us at thesuperheroesjourney@gmail.com, where heroes is plural, not possessive. And thanks for listening.
Thanks.